shorty, what your name is? Do you have a man who you came with? Yes.
No, we really live for real.
Yes,
Yeah, we live.
All right, let's get this thing started.
Okay, cool. All right, no doubt.
John, take a seat.
Welcome back, y'all. Street Academy Podcast, where we keep 1 foot in the academy and 1 foot in the streets. We back and we back. What's good, man? It's been a minute. It's been a minute. We've been, first of all, shout out to our co-host, Dr. Hater / Jackie / about to be Dr. Jackie, official doctor, for real.
Hey, Jackie.
So real quick, she is not here. She's not in this episode. She won't be for the next few episodes because there's just a lot going on.
Handling her business.
Handling her business. That's all it is. And she just handling her business. And when you grown, you know what I'm saying? And when you doing grown woman-ish, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta step out, you gotta do what you gotta do. So she's doing her thing right now, but just know she leveling up. She's she got things going on, but she will be back. And so in the meantime, for the next couple of episodes, you're gonna see different people, you're gonna see guests, you're gonna see some of our favorite people in our personal lives, our friends, our family. There's people that are like super dope that we love and that just mean a lot to us that are going to come in and fill in until Dr. Hater gets back, and she will fill you in on everything that's been going on with her if she wants to. So exactly. That is what's going on. Amber K, you good? What's going on? I got my bed in the background. I'm trying not to show.
I'm good.
Because
good. I'm excited. I'm happy to see Ayanna in our conversation. Wait, I'm sorry. We haven't introduced our official co-host yet. We will do that shortly. I'm going to leave that to John to be able to introduce our wonderful co-host.
That's going to take the whole episode.
You might start crying, John.
I might start crying if I introduce Ayanna, for real.
But I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited about life. I'm trying to be excited about life. I'm excited for this episode just to talk about hip hop.
Yes.
But anyway,
we are super excited. So this episode is about hip hop. As you know, August is, for those who may not know, it's like Black August. There's a lot of important things that happen in Black history in August. And so for those who may not know, Black August, or August is sometimes called Black August, you have things like the March on Washington that happened in August. A lot of what Marcus Garvey did with the UNA was in August as well. And so another thing that happened in August that is very significant to Black history is that August is the birth of hip hop. I think it's August 12th. Is it August 12th? Let me see, because I put it on my Instagram on the day of. So I believe, what is today? The 4th. So August 11th then. So August 11th would be the birthday of
1970.
1973.
It was 1973.
Yes, August 11th, 1973. Is the birth of hip hop. And so we felt it would be only right, as people who've been influenced by hip hop, as people who are part of the hip hop generation, to actually have an episode just on hip hop. We also never did our Black Music Month for June, which we were supposed to do an episode on Black music. And we did not. We just got busy with Father's Day and a bunch of other stuff. So we also wanted to take this time to also celebrate Black music. So this episode is going to be on hip hop. The next one I'm really excited about. So y'all make sure y'all tune in. Y'all make sure y'all click, like, share, subscribe, do everything you're supposed to do when it comes to Street Academy Podcast. Make sure you follow us. But this episode is going to be super dope. The next episode is going to be crazy dope. So we just got
let's tell them what it's going to be about.
You want to go ahead and just tell them?
Yes, because this is part 1 of our music series.
Amber love to do parts. She love to do series.
Because
right. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 5, 15. I know that's right.
So this episode, we're talking about hip hop and Black people, the history of hip hop with Black people, and what it means to our community, what it means to us as individuals. And in some ways, people would expect that a little bit with Black people. So why not do something about the unexpected classical music? So
Yes.
the part 2 is going to be about Black people and classical music. And we have some classically trained artists, professionals, professors who will be joining us next week, who are melanated queens and kings. Let's go. It's going to be great.
I cannot wait.
Yes.
I can't wait to see that.
So I'm super excited about that. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Black classical music and some incredible, nationally world-renowned known people.
Yes.
In classical music that will be on our episode. So we're super excited. So anyway, with that being
that's
said,
gonna be amazing. Ooh.
That's gonna be incredible. I'm really excited. So, but with this episode, hip hop, something that's near and dear to all of us on this podcast, and there was no other person that we felt would be just incredible to have to be a part of this conversation with than our good friend, my good friend, Ayanna Barber. Before we get her into this, I don't even know how to describe Ayanna. Ayanna, if anybody knows me, if you really know me, you know Ayanna, because Ayanna is like my friend, my sister. Like, she is one of, if not the closest person to me outside of like my blood family. And in a lot of ways, she's closer to me personally than a majority of my blood family. I've known Ayanna for almost 20 years, maybe. I've known Ayanna for almost 20 years. We've been super close for like maybe 15 years, something like that.
Yep.
We've been through so much together. If you know my life, then you know there's people who don't know Ayanna, never seen Ayanna in person, but they know her because they like, oh, I know John. I know, like, that's my sister, that's my love, that's my homie, that's my friend, that's my family. She is everything. She is my support system. Ayanna is my mentor. She is somebody I talk to, I get advice from, I bounce ideas off of. We've started community organizations together, revolutions, fighting this. Like, we've done it all together. Like, and it's like living this life, having a friend. One thing that I always tell people that I love about my friend is, out of all of her great qualities, the greatest quality is that she is loyal. Like, loyal. I know that if anything goes down, I know I can always call on her. I know that she'll be there for me. I never have any doubt in my mind that, you know, she'll be like shady or anything like that. And a lot of people can't say that about people in their lives, particularly even people that they call friends. So with that being said, the reason why she's here on this episode is because we've had hours and hours of conversations. We'll talk forever and ever, right? But the one thing that we have in common that we love, that we can talk about for hours and hours and hours on end, is hip hop. From the beginning to the end, from 1973 to 2021. And we'll go through all the eras and all the stages and all the albums and all the people and all the verses and all the everything. We love hip hop. And she is a hip hop historian. She's a hip hop pundit. Everything. Yes, she knows everything. She knows hip hop for real. And so we were actually having a conversation. How she got on this episode is we were having a conversation about the Locks versus Dipset battle. Then we were talking about the Nas album that dropped. We talked about versus battles. And after that, me and Amber got together to plan out the next episodes. And we said, yo, we should do an episode on hip hop. And I was like, Ayanna,
let's go.
Ayanna, we got to get her on. I promise you, it's going to be a great conversation. I know it's going to be super dope. And so, yes, that is why we have my friend, my family, Ayanna here. So without any further ado, I present to you Ayanna Barber.
Y'all, I was so nervous coming on this podcast. I didn't know what to do and what to expect because my friends are so brilliant and intelligent and smart and eloquent. It's just, I am honored to be here. And I really wanted to like shout you all individually, and I promise I won't take too much time because we got to get to the topics at hand. But I just wanted to shout out to Jackie for her 1,800 plus degrees. Girl, you are doing your motherfucking thing. She's just out here doing her thing. She's so smart. She's so, like, when you see her, it's like you feel so much taller, and you feel your vibrations are higher. You feel like you need to be drinking some tea, $18 teas in croquettes or something. That girl is now. That was my thing. Now Amber, and Amber already knows this. She already knows this. But I've always told myself that Amber has a brilliance that is just beyond amazing. And I've always told her this because it's like, how can we see her eloquence and her brilliance and her intelligence and her, and she's so different and she's so unique and she's so amazing. How can we put that out there? And now I see it. And I see her talent and I see her beauty. And it's just, I am so glad that she is monopolizing on this opportunity on this podcast, and seeing her shine just makes me so happy. You don't even understand. Like, you don't understand. Like, I was nervous coming on here. Like, I got my brother is a professor at 15 colleges. My friend got a degree, 2 degrees at Harvard. Like, it's just like, woo, child. Little old me coming on this podcast was just intimidating. But, you know, at the end of the day, these are my people. These are my friends. Y'all remember back in Atlanta, we would find a black-owned spot and we talk for hours.
We could talk for
hours. Me, you, and Amber. Remember that?
Yes,
absolutely.
I remember that.
We would be out like that. We'd find a spot and we'll be talking till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, so these are my people. Like, oh my goodness. And Jonathan, you know how I feel about you. Like, I am so proud of the man that you have become. You are so intelligent, so smart, just a powerful man, and I'm so honored to be one of your closest friends. And I am just so thankful to be here. I just need to put that out there before we start. So, yeah, we can start. Can I start off with my favorite song? Or am I starting too soon? Or
no, go ahead. We already in it.
Well, we start off with our first segment, which is just right off the Georgia Dome. So when you just think about the topic of Black people in hip hop or Black people in the history of hip hop, quick off the Georgia Dome for like 30 seconds to a minute, what comes to mind? And we can start with you, Ayanna.
Wait, in terms of hip hop?
Yeah, just 30 seconds
like
to a minute.
Just
to say like quickly, like it's just like right off the top of your head, like what do you feel about it if you just had to explain to anybody what your thoughts are in a minute?
Hip hop is pain. Hip hop is joy. Hip hop is an outlet for our community. Hip hop is something that was created for us to express ourselves, to make money off of, to lift our vibrations, for God to be dwelling in it. Because that's God. Hip hop is God. Poetry, music, it's the way we communicate. It's our spirit. It's poetry. Like, I don't know if I could live without hip hop now. Like, the music has definitely changed my life. The first song that that's past. Is that past 30 seconds?
Well, just go with that first song and then we'll go to John.
Okay. And and the first song, actually, I loved hip hop ever since I was like, 7, 8 years old. And there was one particular song that I did like that kind of draw me to it and to be connected to it. And it was, remember Diggable Planets?
Yeah.
Yes. Like that. I remember. I'm like that. I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that. And I was 10. And I remember, and I've experienced racism since I was like 7 years old. And I remember, you remember there was a part where they go, I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that. And then they kind of do a breakdown. And then the one of the dudes was like, I'm chill like that. I'm ice like that. I'm blah, blah, blah. And the black girl was like, I'm cool like that, and I'm black like that. And the way she said it, I'm not joking. I remember being 10, and I got emotional when she did that. And at that point, I was like, oh, I'm connected. And then, of course, at 14, Keith Murray, The Line. How's it go?
Like that
let me play it.
When I can't control the ride, I gotta make sure I'm right.
Let me play it. Let me play it. Hold on, let me play it. Let me time on in. Can y'all hear that shit?
Oh.
I don't know that one.
Facebook, do y'all hear it? Hey, let me turn my fan on.
You use that before I let you go sample.
Man, destruction. I got the rooftop. Okay, let me fast forward to the chorus. Hold on. And it seems like that sometimes.
When I can't control the rhyme.
Seems like that sometimes because I can't control the rhyme.
Yes.
That's a wiggle. Hey.
Yes.
When that came on.
That is the that is the shit, bro.
I'm done.
Hell yeah.
And there was a lot of hip hop songs back in that time. The 90s was very fresh. It was innovative because, it was coming from the 80s and transitioning into the 90s. And then when you hear that, you're like, oh, there's no question. Why would I not love hip hop? Especially as a Black woman. No way. So yeah, that was my 60
Off the Georgia Dome.
Off the Georgia Dome.
I'll go next.
Off the Georgia Dome.
Because I want to comment that I feel like this is also the beauty of hip hop is how expansive it is. And depending on what your interests are or what you're drawn to, you will be exposed to things deeply. You'll go deep into an artist in a way that another person will have never heard of them. And so for me, I'm like, listen to this song and I'm like, dang, I have never heard that song before. I'm just like, wow. And so I just appreciate that about hip hop because I think the diversity within hip hop speaks to the diversity within Black people and of the people of the diaspora. Because a lot of times people do try to put hip hop in a box, but it cannot be put in a box. And I look at that as like, for me, Quick Off the Georgia Dome is a line from one of my favorite artists of all time, Lauryn Hill, right there.
Yes.
Oh, that's too bad.
I got that at
Come on now.
For her. And it is just her line that said, hip hop started out in the heart. Not everybody's trying to chart. And for me, that is so important because it's just like, no matter what, it's in the hearts of Black people. And it started with us. And there's so many different ways that people interact with hip hop. For some people, it is about charting. For other people, it's because it's what it means to breathe. It's what it means to live. They have to rap. They have to write the poetry. They have to dance in the specific way. They have to dress a certain way because hip hop is also a culture. And so for me, just knowing that it's just like, hip hop started out in the heart, not everybody trying to chart. And for me, that's one of the lines that encapsulate what I feel like is part of the hip hop experience of being a Black person. So it's always, I feel like it's with me, period, in my heart, all day, always. So yeah.
Yes, man, hip hop.
Man, that was beautiful.
Same as Amber, like I had to wear my Beats and Rhymes shirt right here, and I got my Beats and Rhymes shirt. New York, shout out to New York, the Mecca of hip hop. I am from the South. That's my culture. That's who I am. But obviously, I gotta recognize the birth of hip hop, the Bronx, New York, August 11, 1973. Hip hop is culture to me, man. Like, obviously, I grew up with hip hop. I grew up listening to hip hop. Even when I was young, it wasn't allowed to listen to it because it was, my parents thought it was that bad music, that rap music, that's, and didn't really understand the meaning and the significance and the power and the revolution of it. But for some reason, I was just drawn to it. I was just drawn to the way in which not only people spoke out against what was wrong and how it empowered me to be who I wanted to be who I am, and to speak out against things that just wasn't right. In addition to that, but even more than that, I love the cultural meaning around hip hop. Hip hop had its own language. Hip hop has its own, almost kind of like religion, like way in which people look at the world, spiritual.
Yeah.
Hip hop has its own way of just moving about life. It has its own literature. It has its own music. It has its own art. It has its own style. It has its own walk. Hip hop has its own way of thinking. Like, even no matter where you go, I remember I would holler at one of my other homeboys, shout out to Gabe. We would have, even from high school, we would, freestyle and write rhymes, and we would battle each other and battle other people. And I remember one time we said, man, will we ever grow out of hip hop? Like, eventually move on to like more sophisticated ways of, sophisticated styles of music and jazz.
Sophisticated.
Yeah, like, hip hop, yeah, we're young, but maybe we'll grow out of this at some point. And I'm like in my 30s and I'm still like, no, like I love hip hop even more now than I did back then, and appreciate it more, and it grows with you, and and you start to understand it differently and in a deeper way. And hip hop is sophisticated. You know what I'm saying? It is sophisticated.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, it's all of those things when you go deeper into it, and when you really begin to understand it and realize that you are hip hop, that we are hip hop, our generation is it. So as we grow, we take it and we mature. I love Nas and Jay-Z and how they're maturing hip hop, and how the young people are looking up to them, and the things that they rap about is different from what they rapped about in the 90s when they were just getting out the projects or something.
Exactly.
So we make hip hop grow. And it was the same way with jazz. Jazz had a certain style, and as the jazz musicians grew, jazz itself grew, rock and roll grew. And so hip hop is going to grow as we grow. And so that's the thing I love about hip hop. I love what you said, Yana, when you was like, hip hop is God. It's spiritual, it's divine, because the way in which it impacts people, the way in which it moves people and breaks people and revolutionizes culture. Like, you can't tell me that there's not some kind of divine connection to that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
not just with hip hop, but just with culture in general. So yeah, that's what hip hop means to me.
I love it. Let's get into this conversation. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, so first question though, that, and I think Ayanna came up with this when we were talking about it, is, so that's why I wanted to find out what you was gonna say before I went into the very first question, Amber.
Let's just go with what you were thinking.
Okay. First question, you always gotta ask in any hip hop conversation, when did you first fall in love with hip hop?
For me?
And I know I've already cut up. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I can just say, I remember first grade summer camp at AME Church, and Whoop That Is was a thing. And it was, Whoop That Is, it's like, you just can't.
Whoop That Is.
I think that's when and now when I listen to those words, I'm like, this is very sexy. This is a very sexy song. But in first grade, I didn't know what was going on.
I didn't know it was a sexy song.
I didn't know it was a sexy song, but I think that's when it was just like, I don't think, of course, I didn't have the name for it, but that's when it was just like, this sounds amazing. Like, this is just, I think that's when, well, okay. Well, then I have a question, John. When you say fall in love,
yeah.
So what do you? I get this could take us off, but maybe I shouldn't say that. Because it's like you have the kind of love that you don't know is love, or like the love of a parent, and then there's like the love that you might have more awareness of, like you're being deliberate about it.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say that as well. Like, anytime I'm asked this question, I give two, like a part A and a part B.
Okay.
So part A for me would be when I first got really introduced to hip hop.
Okay.
Really began to come to grips with it as just rap music. Was it was like the late 80s. I might have been like 5 or 6 when I heard Children's Story by Slick Rick. I was really young. It's like one of my earliest memories of life. I just remember being really young, but hearing Slick Rick, Children's Story. But I remember being a little bit older, maybe around 8 or 9, and when I first heard Snoop and Dre. And when I first heard Snoop and Dre, I think it was ring ding dong, ring da ding 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 dong, keep them heads. Okay. It was like something like that. It was the Snoop and Dre era. And I remember being young.
That era was amazing.
Yes, that early 90s. I remember that specifically, but I didn't fall in love with hip hop. Like fall in love with it. I got introduced to it and I knew it as rap music and dope music, but I didn't fall in love until I heard Common's Delight. Dun, 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 dun. When I first heard that, I was like, what is this? Like, what is this sound? What is this music? And it literally did something to me physically. I remember going home and it came on the radio and I remember being like, I need to find that. And I remember there was this dude in a high school, we called him Sellers. And he this was when burning CDs first came out. And he went to everybody in the cafeteria. He was like, yo, I got this program. I can burn any CD for you, anything for you, whatever you want. And I said, yo, what's this song on the radio about a light or something like that? Like I couldn't describe it, but I knew some of the lyrics. And one of my homegirls was like, oh yeah, that's Common. That's a song called The Light. And so I said, I went to Sellers and I was like, yo, Sellers, I want you to get this whole album for me. And he was doing them for $5. And like a couple of days later, he burned the album for me. Wait to get home. Oh, are you playing it, Ayanna?
I want to play. I was trying to be slick with it, but I'm not polished. I was trying to be like cool with it while you were doing it, and the commercial was playing. My fault, but I was gonna play it when you wanted me. I was gonna cue in. Can I cue in for you? Can I play it?
Go ahead, find it. That's it. That song did it for me. And when I went home, and I was like. I fell in love. I was in love with hip hop at that moment. When I got that CD, that burnt Common CD, and I put it on the stereo. From that point on, I was in. I was all in. So that's when I fell in love with hip hop.
So yeah, that's a different. Okay, so then I can now say the two moments. So yes, there was the introduction, I feel, which was like, whoop, there it is, because I was like 6, 7, something like that. Then I think when I fell in love with it was when I realized how much time I was spending trying to understand it. So it was with Lauryn Hill. Again, Lauryn Hill is like my favorite. I remember being in 4th grade. And at that time, tapes were the main way that we listened to music. Well, tapes and the radio.
Exactly.
And so I remember listening to the score. Of course, a lot of people loved her in Killing Me Softly, because I remember that came out when I was like the 4th grade. And so I don't know how I got the score album. I don't know if my brother got it or somebody, but I remember listening to this one intro manifest, this one like interlude, Manifest Destiny. And or maybe it's a whole song. I guess it's a whole song. Yeah. On the score. And like sitting there painstakingly writing the lyrics down, like listening to it every few seconds, writing the lyric, listening to it, writing the lyric, rewinding, doing that. And that took a very, very long time. But
a long time to do that. I remember those days.
She was speaking fast. And so she was rapping fast. And I learned that whole rap and I still know it. And that for me was when it was just like, oh, this is a serious thing. And I remember like unpacking the lyrics and trying to think like, what does she mean? What is it?
I got it.
Let me hear it. Let me see. I can rap every line of that. That's it.
Hold on. Come on, Amber. I got you, girl. I got you back, girl.
I can do the whole thing.
Let me see. Wait, we want to get to her part? Let's get to her part.
Yeah. I can just rap the whole. I can rap the whole thing. That was one thing I was.
Hold on.
I tried to burn me like a worm, but my eyes on the distance of my heart wouldn't let me learn. Some do one more was I, and every time you die, how I cried, and I still got me. My heart must have died a thousand deaths. I felt myself upon the Braxton, thought I never catch my breath. Nothing left, so the heart beating from my chest. I tried to call the cops, that type of thief they can't arrest. Pain suppressed will lead to cardiac arrest. Diamonds deserve diamonds, but he convinced me I was worth less. And when my people would protest, I told them mind their business because my shit was complex. It's more than just a sex. I was blessed, but couldn't feel it like when I was caressed. I spent night touching my breasts, and some guy's best, some guy was something paradise.
What? My girl, listen to that shit. We're flowing.
Dang it.
I was like, oh, okay, we see you, Amber. Amber, you doing your thing, girl. That was it. And you say, listen, right? You see how hip hop is raising the vibration of the show already. You see how the divinity is already rising already. You saw the way Amber went from, I mean, of course she's chill, she's eloquent, but she went to a space where it was like, nothing could stop her. She was invincible. She was empowered immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. You can't tell me that hip hop. This is divinely orchestrated. This is God. This is our creator manifesting all up in here. The energy, the love, the vibration. You see how Amber was, I paused that shit. Amber was ripping that shit.
She was gone.
Come on,
she was gone.
Amber, I know Amber loves the hip hop. She couldn't wait for the classical. I get it. But girl, you was ripping that hip hop, girl.
Oh no,
you want to lyricist?
Oh no, absolutely.
Man, that was
those last few lines, I'm mad I didn't get them just now. I think I was out of breath. I had to like pace myself. But anyway, that makes me think though, I was gonna ask y'all, this is going to be one of my first questions. I feel like we just need to start with can you spit some bars of one of your favorite songs right off the dome without like what's some bars that you can spit right now, verbatim, you got it. I just want to go for it.
Okay, so there's two songs. Okay, so there's two. I'm a Lil' Kim enthusiast. Like I love Lil' Kim.
You and my sister.
I love her flow. Yeah. I love the way that's my bitch. Like that girl be ripping it. And I know that we're in an era where Nicki is thriving and flourishing. And I like Nicki, she cool. But people need to stop disrespecting and diminishing my girl, Queen B. That bitch is that motherfucking bitch, okay?
Sure.
Homegirl was a trend. She's timeless. Ain't nobody fucking with Kim. So the two songs that I love, I mean, if I can play it right now, I can probably rhyme with it. But you know how like Amber was like killing it. You know how you need the momentum going to like get you stuff. That's what I needed. And two songs, of course,
Crush on You.
No Crush.
Okay.
Crush on You. Yeah, I'm want to say No Crush. Crush on You. And No Time for Fake Niggas. Yeah, play No Time. No, play No Time. Because I can rip No Time by Lil' Kim.
A perfect verse to a tight beat for me is always gonna be Common's The Sixth Sense. And it has DJ Premier on it. And Common said, how does it go? He was like, some days I take the L to jail with the real world. Got on at 87, stopped by this little girl. She recited raps. I forgot where they was from in them. She was saying how she made brothers come. I started thinking how many souls hip hop has affected, how many dead folks this art resurrected. How many nations this culture connected? Who am I to judge one's perspective? Though some of that shit y'all pop to it, I don't relate. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. That don't mean it. I'm hating. I just want to innovate and stimulate rhymes, travel the world and penetrate times, escape through rhythms in search of peace and wisdom. Rap some smoke signals, letting the streets know I'm with them. But now I appreciate this moment in time. Ball players and actors be knowing my rhymes. It's like, yes, I love that. That's like one of my favorite verses of all time.
Yes.
I can hear y'all. Y'all can hear me? Okay. Yeah, y'all, I am so sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. We going.
And I was ready for No Crush. Can we do that one more time, please? I'm so sorry, Facebook.
It's all good because I'm gonna edit all this anyway. I'm gonna edit it all.
No, we still Facebook Live, y'all. Hello. I want to redeem myself because I did not redeem myself on No Time, and I'm mad at myself.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
It's cool, I'm not trying to put a rush on you. I had to let you know.
Hey, yo, short, won't you go get it back? I'm a young dress in the wrong seat. Why you count your jewels thinking I'm a cheat you? The only one thing I wanna do is free you.
I got my own forget. And I'm going to do with things that you won't regret. Lil' Kim and Queen B, so it's best take heed. Shall I proceed? Yes, indeed. I'm going to throw shade if I can't get paid. Something like the armored grenade. On my eyes like the escapade. And these chiquitillas with the marmalade. To me, not you. Oh, yeah, you see. I'm a bit style, but I love your profile. And it all... And don't blush. Just keep
this
on the hush.
Hey.
I did it for a second.
Yeah.
Yes.
Use it there.
What's it about? I don't know what it is, but when the music be playing and I be rolling with it, but when I'm by myself, it's just like,
I mean, that's how you know.
It happened, but music. But I mean, also the experience is it's audio, it's visual, it can be audio, visual, it's so many different things. So it's like we have different relationships with different types of songs. Like for me, I got one more verse I know by heart for sure. I remember and this for me reminds me of the collaborative nature of hip hop, how it's a community thing. Because I remember at Oakwood University, I heard a song playing down the hallway. It was Kelly, Lewis, and Sharisa. They were in the room, and I remember hearing this song from down the hallway, and I was like, "What song is this?" And it was Khalees, and I was like, "What song?" It was her Millionaire song, and then Andre 3000 had a verse on it, and I love this song so much, and so I immediately had to get this song, and I can rap, I can say that exact verse. So many people might not know this song because it's on Khalees' album, but this is an Andre 3000 verse, and of course, me being from ATL, Hoa ATL, shouting, I love Outkast, Andre 3000 to the day I die, right? So it was like, let me catch my breath because I just love this song. It was like, the song is called Millionaire. The song is called Millionaire, and his verse is, where there is cheese, there are rats. Wherever there are rats, there are cats. Wherever there are cats, there are dogs. If you got the dogs, you got bitches. You gotta put their paws on your riches. If you got riches, you got glitches. If you got glitches in your life computer, turn it off and then reboot, and now we back on. Can't just put the cap on the old bottle. Once you pop it, that'll spoil it. Gonna drink it and enjoy it. Oh, Papa, I'm a millionaire. I love that shit.
So good.
I've heard that song.
He's so good. I never lost the damn verse.
No, he's so good. He's so good.
Oh yeah.
That was a good song.
Now that's an interesting question. Who in hip hop has literally been flawless? Like you've never heard a bad verse from this person?
Andre.
That's true. I've never heard a bad verse from Andre.
Andre 3000.
I've never heard a bad verse from
Andre.
Yeah.
Andres are the best.
Yeah. Andre.
I'm trying to think of a verse that I would not like. I mean, completely flawless.
Yeah, just a flaw. I've never heard a bad verse from Black Thought. I have some that I like more than others, but ever since Black Thought has been rapping, he's just been good, and he's only gotten better in his older age. So that's mine. I've never heard a bad verse from Black Thought.
Gosh.
And I love the Roots.
Andre 3000 is probably the one that I can think of. Damn, I don't know. I just something you got to sit and think about for a second, because I mean, flawless.
Never heard a whack verse.
See, now I'm thinking about Green Light, John. You know that's me and you.
Give me the green light. Give me just one more. I'm ready to go right now. I love Andre part.
Exactly.
I went hard like Medusa staring at me. I told her, let's go. Let's blow his lame nigga factory. She said, what kind of girl do you think that I am? The kind that you meet in a bar. You think you can get whatever you want because you some kind of star? No, I'm a comet. I just want you, woman. Hey, if I were you, it would be me that I go home with. 3, the one and only. One thing you ain't considered. I told you when you, he can get it. Admit it.
You did it.
Glad and split it. I'm kidding. We both where you living. I got you giggling. Man, that's the song, bro. That is the song.
Anita Baker, then Robin Gibbons. Now I don't love that lady, so let me quit it. I'm just style free.
Freestyling, which I seldom do.
This is what I'm telling you. To the jail, I'm telling you.
Like I've been in jail for 2 years and they done let me loose.
That's what it is.
Something to state of hip hop right now, and I'm not saying, because I'm not hitting on all the young artists right now, because I do feel like there are some dope ass people currently who are doing their thing, but there is something different and disappointing about this generation to me. Do you all agree? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you think of. I feel disappointed, and I'm very thankful that Nas came in and let me tell you something real quick. I love Big Lotto. Lotto, that's that.
Big Lotto.
I love
Mulatto. I like her.
So let me not say that all of the young kids out here doing their thing they're not doing their thing. They are. There's some, but the culture as a whole, I am disappointed in. And I just want to know if you also the same.
We were younger, our parents would tell us, oh, this is real music, this is this is that, what y'all listening to, that rap crap, that I can't even understand what they saying, hippie there. Steve Harvey, like Steve Harvey did in the verses, right? That's what we heard growing up. So I just remember that, and I always said when I get older, I don't want to do the younger generation like that and be like, oh, what y'all listen to isn't as good as what we listen to, right? So I really try really hard to like what it is that I be hearing, and I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what is it that they're saying? Like, let me get to the essence of it. Maybe not the delivery. Maybe I should get to the essence. Like, I really try hard, and maybe I do it at the expense of letting some shit go that really shouldn't be, but I'm trying to find a balance, right? So I try to make myself like, Moneybagg Yo and 42 Dugg or whatever these new artists are. You know what I'm saying? And but I do remember that again. I do try to go with, I try not to completely discount whatever is popular. And one example I'll give is Future. When Future first came out, I couldn't stand Future. I thought Future was stupid. I didn't like the music. I couldn't understand what he was saying. I was like, I don't like Future, right? And I know I already know how Amber feel about Future. But I did not like Future. And then I remember Andre 3000 said that Future was one of his favorite artists. He loved Future's music. He thought it was.
Who said that? Andre 3000?
Andre 3000, right. Lord. And I was like, well, I love Andre. Like, I respect what he says. So that made me go back and listen to Future. And really take some time to really listen to the word. And when I could actually understand what he was saying, I was like, man, Future's saying some real stuff in his music. And he's really, he's one of the first, I liken him a lot to DMX, in that they're one of the few artists who really just let their souls go on the track as men, right? As like these really hyper masculine men, but they really allow you to really take a deep dive into how they're feeling and their, you know what I'm saying, like their real emotions, their raw emotions. And so now, not to say I'm like this biggest Future fan, but now I respect Future's music a lot more because I allow myself to be okay with the new delivery and the new styles and the new trends. And so I don't know. I like some of what I hear, and I try to appreciate it, and I try to get past the delivery or what I prefer and the music that I grew up on to look at the essence of whatever it is they're saying and try to find the artistic way in which they're expressing themselves.
So for me, I feel like hip hop, being that it started in 1973, it has also grown. We have to recognize that like this is a very, very different time to be a musician. 1973, hip hop started off in a club, basically. Now, what is this? 40, 50 years later, the way that people are doing music is just so different. The way that it gets out there is so different. Hip hop has grown with the growing wealth gap in America. It's grown with the growing, I would say, of course, the internet age, access to information, access to artists. So for me, what I feel like I can't, for me, it's hard to even want to really compare the different like generations of hip hop or the different decades because of just how music is made. Like even what was it in the 80s? That's when the like, what was it? I should know this, but that's when people began to make music more synthetically. You could have the little box where you could start the beat makers and stuff, right? And so, and I had watched this series on PBS, which is really interesting. It's on YouTube. I forget. I'll figure out the name of it by the end of this, but it's just like at that time in the 80s, that's when more people could start making music because they had these little machines that they could actually make music too. And so even that just increases the amount of people who are going to make it. And then I feel like in the internet age, and these kids been like 16 or whatever, and people have gone viral and they'll have like one song and it's just like, boom. It's just like, I think the motivation for getting into hip hop in a lot of ways, it's just different. I think in the like early on, it's like, I feel like there was the love for it. There was that culture, that was all the stuff that we were talking about. It's an outlet. And then I think it's also become a way to just make money and it not be about like the music at all. And I forget who was quoted as saying that. I don't know if it was a woman rapper recently who said like, no, I'm here for the money. I mean, even if we just look at Cardi B, we know Cardi B, she like her whole story of being a reality star, ex-stripper, she wasn't trying to do hip hop because there's some like deep passion for it. There's some deep like love for it, connection to the history. It's like, this is a way out, period. And so let me do this. And so I think that that definitely reshapes the art form from the people who I think who initially in its inception were in it for the artistry in some ways. But of course, I'm not saying like I know all of their motivations. I don't know all of their motivations. And of course, in another way, they saw it as a gateway out. I just feel like now with the way that social media is, and it's just so, there's just so much more inauthenticity. I feel like now it's just like, let me just get in there, let me make my money however I can make it. It's not really the message, it don't matter. And that's not necessarily to say that that is the mindset of all of the people who are coming out now. I don't want to say that either. It's just that I think that that motivation is a lot, because the wealth gap is even broader than it was when when hip hop first came out. And with that, people are struggling in new and different ways. And then the internet is now a stage that everybody can see. It's not just in New York, it's not just in Atlanta, it's not just in Texas or whatever, but everybody can see somebody's life from here to there because of a few different songs. And so I feel, so to me, when I think about the rappers, the artists, the hip hop, whoever of today, I'm seeing that desire for wealth and fame. That's what I'm seeing. And so when I think about it, and not just that, there's also kind of the co-opting of hip hop too, the blending of seeing that hip hop and rap and R&B music and anything Black people do in Black people culture is one of the top exports of the US. People now see it as a way to get money, you know, and it's not just Black people, it's the white people and everybody else too. So they're like, okay, how can I monetize this hip hop thing? Hip hop becomes a brand, hip hop becomes a project. I mean, it becomes a commodity. And so when I had just asked, like, what are the top songs right now? The top songs right now, according to Billboard, number one is, I don't even know this man, the Kid Laroi, I guess that's some rapper, and Justin Bieber, okay? Number two is Olivia Rodrigo. I don't know her, I don't listen to that song. But number three, Dua Lipa featuring the Baby, the Levitating song. So let's just go with those top three. So what you see, I'm assuming Kid Laroi is or Leroy, I don't know who that is. Is he a Black rapper? I'm assuming.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know, but like, I'm assuming, let me just go ahead, because this shows how much, oh no, it's some singer guy, I don't know. But let's just go with the Baby, and let's just say the top three, the number three song in the country right now is Levitating with Dua Lipa and the Baby. And we see what even just happened with the Baby, right? And you have the connection with Dua Lipa. So it's like, how soon, I don't know what the stats are on this, but I'm sure y'all might know a little bit. But like, how soon did hip hop artists start collaborating with non-hip hop artists in their careers? Or when did that start happening? Because Levitate, for the Baby to get with Dua Lipa clearly is like, you know, this man, when she did that statement about the Baby, she was like, oh, well, this man, this isn't the artist that I was collaborating with. And it's just like, y'all don't really know each other. You got put on the track because hip hop is a thing right now, because rap is a thing right now. And you knew that would take your song to a higher place, right? This is not because you like are some deep hip hop fan. This is a money grab. That's what this is. And so to me, I feel like I've seen so many more of those collaborations where it's just like you have some little pop song and then you add a rap hook on it. It's just like, boom, it's kind of hip hop and cool now. And so it works for the worlds that people like. They want to blend these two worlds together because hip hop is like a nice feature. It's a feature. It's not the thing. Like the rap is just a feature. And do you see what I mean?
They've been doing that. I think the first time I heard anything hip hop attached to something that was not hip hop, I think that was like in the 80s. Remember when Run DMC collaborated with
Beastie Boys?
Not Beastie Boys. No, it was
it was Walk This Way, Steven Tyler, Aerosmith.
Yeah, they've been doing that since the 80s, I believe. I think that's when it started. I'm not sure if it. Do y'all know of any collaborations that happened in the 70s?
No, that was the first time I remember.
Started.
That was the first time I remember. What I was gonna say though is I kind of, and it's gonna sound weird, maybe coming from me, but And there was a time where I felt like, man, when I was in high school and like early college, hip hop should be about the grunge and the streets, and it shouldn't be about money and talking about what you want and getting money and all this. And that's why I like, you know, the underground and Talib and Mos Def, because it wasn't all about money for them and blah, blah, blah. But as I got older and I started needing money to live and wanting money and thinking about wealth, I'm like, I can kind of understand a little bit more of like the P. Diddy shiny suit era. I can understand a little bit more about, yo, I'm out here, I'm trying to get money. I'm trying to get a house. I'm trying to get cars. I'm trying to live a better life. And so now that I'm older, it's interesting because now that I'm older, I actually don't mind when, you know, people see hip hop as a way of getting out the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Nas will tell you, like, Nas will tell you, I appreciated hip hop. I loved hip hop. I'm a part of hip hop, but I could, and Jay-Z will tell you too, I would not have done it if I didn't feel like I could make money off of it. Like, I need to, I need, this is something that I love, but it's also something that is, you know, that I can get capital. I can, it's marketable. I can be better. I can live a better life. So I actually don't mind people taking advantage of that opportunity. I don't like it, like Amber said, when people outside of the culture come in and they exploit it, right? Yeah. You don't know what it is. You don't know anything about it. You don't care to know anything about it. The story, the history, the people, nothing, and you exploit it. That's when I do agree with that part. But in terms of a young person that's growing up, they in the streets, and they don't really have much, and they got a rough start. They started out at a disadvantage, and they realize that, yo, I have this talent of making music or making beats or rapping or whatever, and this is a way for me to make something of myself. Hell yeah, make money, whatever it is you got to do. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never mad about that. And I think early hip hop was the same way. Like, even if you go back to Sugar Hill Gang, and even if you go back to Run DMC, and they wore big chains and they wore fancy leather jackets, and they talked about, you know, having better, you know what I'm saying, living, being rich, even though they might not have been rich at that time. Like, hip hop has always kind of been gaudy, and hip hop has always kind of been about wanting better and wanting more and getting money, even from the beginning, even though that's not all of what it was about. That was an element of it. And I'm okay with that.
Oh, I wanted to say something too to kind of piggyback off what Amber was saying in regards to, to talk about the differences between now and back then. And I remember Beyonce saying this too in one of her documentaries, how people don't listen to a body of music anymore because remember now we have access to everything so quickly. But remember back in the 90s, you had to, the anticipation of waiting for something made you appreciate the music and the art form so much, like 10 times, 20 times better. Yeah. Like having to wait and, you know, or even maybe a couple of months or 2 or 3 months, you know what I'm saying, to listen to an album. I remember when I first bought my first hip hop album, and that was an album for my sister for Christmas, and it was DMX. And I remember it was Flesh on My Flesh. That was the first hip hop album I've ever bought in my entire life. And I remember having to wait for it, because me and my sister would be sitting in front of MTV, you know what I'm saying? Like when Slippin' would come on, all the joints when DMX come on, my sister would go crazy. I would go crazy. And I remember, and it was probably like around, that's when the summer came. And I remember I had to wait till December, Christmas to buy the album from my sister. And I remember the anticipation of having to wait for something. And when you do that, there's something beautiful in waiting and listening versus what it is now. Like right now, I can literally, you see the way I just was able to just find a song and it was nothing to play. You know what I mean? So I honestly feel like there is something beautiful about waiting for something, but not everything would just click, 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 click. And, you know, and I remember like MTV or even the culture itself would create algorithms. Remember, there was the West Coast had their era. Yeah. The East Coast had their era. The South had their era. Now everything's blended. Everybody's from Memphis. Everybody's from California. Where he from? There's not even a distinctive like sound and era anymore.
I think
that's very true.
It's blended. Can I use the word cracker ass cracker now?
Yeah, you could say cracker ass cracker.
Nah,
Ayanna been wanting to say cracker ass cracker this whole time. She was like, "Can I say cracker ass cracker on y'all podcast?"
Right. So let's talk about the art of hip hop, right? And of course, it's a means for the Black community to express themselves. It's a means for them to elevate their mental health. If you ever hear any artists, and I'm sure you've listened to the Breakfast Club, Jonathan, and these artists, they go to the Breakfast Club, and of course, Charlamagne the God is an advocate for mental health. And they'll be like, well, what do you do for mental health? What do you do for counseling? Do you go to counseling? Like, no, my pen is my counseling. You know what I'm saying? My paper is my counseling. Like this is the way this is the way I put myself out there. This is the way that I mentally release. And hip hop has so many things, so wonderful things. It helps mental health. It helps you get your money up. And I am not mad at our people doing what they need to do to get out, to get out of a terrible situation. I'm making a point, by the way. Mm-hmm. Hip hop, jazz, funk, scat, ragtime, rock and roll, soul, all of that is stemmed from pain, from joy, from misery. All of that beautiful culture and the essence of hip hop in the music is stemmed from something because we've been marginalized for so long. And we needed to create a safe space for us to find joy, to find art, to find a way to create. And you got these cracker ass crackers who don't get to experience none of that shit. They don't get to experience none of that. They don't even know what that shit feels like. They don't know what it looks like. They don't know what Black pain looks like. And you got niggas out here passing out cookout invites, right? Like you said, John, what'd you say? Them white folk were at Africa studying us and figuring out what we doing, setting up shops, right? And you got that one nigga who fucked it up. Y'all need to stop letting them white folk come into our culture, into our spaces. Yeah. Because just like Amber said, it's a sanctuary. It's a sacred space, and we're sharing it. And then when we share it, then it comes exploited. And now hip hop is just not everybody want to do it. And hip hop is something that is meant for us to have for us and just for us. Don't get it twisted. It is what it is. We can share hip hop, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is with Black people. We're a giving people, we're a loving people, and we're a sharing people, and it is what it is. But there's a way in which we need to learn how to share while keeping it sacred. Wow. And now we've allowed these white folks come up in here and they fuck that shit up. And it just pisses me off that you see, and that's what I was gonna say when I said I wanted to use the word cracker ass cracker, because we were talking about Justin Bieber. And I know he's not hip hop, but I hate that when you see the Eminem. I was actually listening to the Breakfast Club last week, and Eminem has he has the top three streaming songs in the world, I think. Like top three. I don't know if y'all want to Google that, but it's like you got these white folk in our spaces winning in our culture. That is so infuriating sometimes. Just seeing how our pain and our misery has been exploited for white people to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna use this, and I'm gonna ask you to do this. And let me tell you something about these white folk real quick, and I'm gonna let y'all talk. You see the way Miley Cyrus did that shit, right? You see how she wore like gold chains and you know what I'm saying? And I'm twerking and I'm doing this and hip hop and I like T.I. and I like fucking with these niggas. But let me tell you something. She threw us the fuck away, didn't she? Yeah. She stopped. Oh, I don't want to. Hip hop you know, it just, remember what she said?
Yeah, I remember she said
fucking with
something
the
negative
niggas.
about it. Yeah.
And then she was like, she said something in regards to it not uplifting her or keeping her empowered, or it was belittling her. But what it was is that she got tired of our music and put it up. And white folk can use us and throw us away. And I just feel that we need to, as a culture, especially hip hop, because you know how hip hop started. You got the Method Mans, and you have Wu-Tang, and you have Keith Murray's and the Jay-Z's, who and Biggie, of course, and listening to his story, they used hip hop, of course, as a way for art, and of course, a way to release, but of course to get out of the hood and to make money, and to put a platform and to put other people on. That's what, and you got. I can go on forever.
I you know what? And I love the conversation around race and who can have access to hip hop and who can profit off of hip hop. But I don't think we can have a conversation about hip hop without also having because of course we love hip hop, we appreciate it. We've been talking about how much we love it for a long time, but we also have to critique hip hop. And one of the many issues that people in general have had about hip hop is not only we love the race part and how it brings Black people together and it's Black and it's fresh and it's da 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 da, but also we also have to think about the gender aspect. And as women, my relationship with hip hop, I love it. And I ain't never felt bad about being a man in hip hop because hip hop has not historically demeaned me. So I'm cool with it. But as women who are lovers of hip hop, how do y'all make sense? I've always wanted to know this because I'm like, if I was a woman, I don't know if I could love hip hop as much as I can as a man. When you hear bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, you know what I'm saying? Like when you hear a lot of like, and I mean, there's people who've like tried to decipher and explain it, and people like Tupac and others who have, you know, have tried to justify using the word bitch or calling women hoes and all of that, or like the colorism in hip hop videos where early on it was all of the light skin, long hair, Eurocentric type of beauty women that was in the videos and all of that. And it's like, you know, money, cash, hoes, and all these songs, like that's just been a part of hip hop for a long time. So as women, how do y'all love something that still, if we're honest, has historically, you know, been demeaning in a lot of ways?
I have a great analogy.
Money, cash, hoes.
Money, cash, hoes.
I have a great analogy for this. As a person who was or is or whatever you might consider yourself, if you are a Christian, right? Did you love the church? Was the church also deeply patriarchal, classist, and so many other things? like when we think about the idea, like, do people love Christianity? People seem to love Christianity, even with all of its crucial issues, because there is something there that you feel is true, that is pure, that is beautiful, even within all of the mess that Christianity is. And so or that it was, or whatever. For me, when I look at hip hop, I look at it as like this sacred thing that has gotten tainted, and that also is a reflection of the culture that it's in. So even when it comes to, I know for me, it's hard to talk about America as like a place that I love necessarily, but also recognizing when I go out of America, I'm like, oh, I am truly American. Like it is true. Like I can't deny that I'm actually American once you go to other countries. And it's just like, I can't say I love America, and yet in one way I can't say I love what some of the things about living here. And so when I think about hip hop, it's one of those well, I don't want to say hip hop, certain rap and certain rappers, how deeply misogynistic it is. It's like how deeply racist America is, and yet there's still some things about America that I can bang with and that I enjoy and that I appreciate, especially when I go to other countries and see that those things are not there. So it's just like rap is like, it's deeply misogynistic, it's classist and capitalist and all those things. And yet I can't go to country music and find the things that I need. I can't go to classical music all the time and find, it's like, I can go to these places and get pieces of it, but what still feels like home in a way, not saying that America feels like home necessarily, but at the same time it does, because I'm deeply American, and I'm American in a way I don't even understand I'm American. But anyway, it's just to say that all of that, it's just like I still like love it. It's not, I wouldn't call it the Stockholm syndrome, but it's just like I have to just kind of cope with those two worlds existing. Like, yes, it has this and it also has this. And that part is more valuable than the pain of it, kind of. And at the same time, how do you hold it accountable? Like when I think about most of the tracks that I love, because I'm from Atlanta, and there was our era of crunk music, and it's all just strip club music.
From the window
to the wall. Yeah, everything is just like, it's about, it's deeply objectifying for women and all that. And I don't necessarily appreciate all of it. And then in another way, it's like, why not have fun with it? Who cares? Or it's just like the beat is there. I appreciate the beat. I just feel like for me, I just kind of hold both of those things in hand at the same time. And then some stuff does get to a point where it's just so misogynistic that I can't listen to it, or it's just so ridiculous that it's just like, okay. But other stuff is just like, I guess I love it. From the windows to the wall, ski, 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 all across the place.
It's definitely saturated in misogyny. It is, but I love Money Cash. I don't know what it is. Well, let me say this. Well, Black women rappers are taking our power back. Okay. And are saying, look, okay, if you're going to objectify me, then if you're going to think you're going to get away with objectifying me, then I'm going to take my shit back, and I'm going to embrace my sexuality, and I'm going to embrace how I want to move with niggas. And if I want to fuck 5 or 10 niggas, you ain't going to say shit. And that's the reason why I like Trina. That's my girl. That's, I'm from Florida. You know what I'm saying?
Real.
Like, Trina said, eat me out while my period is on. That bitch was nasty. Okay?
Hey, know that.
And we love that shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We love it. Oh, and I was 13 though, so ain't on that nigga. You know, man.
Yeah.
I'm 13 listening to that bull. That's awful. But I mean, am I gonna stop listening to it now? I'm not. I love Trina. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna say that I appreciate the women rappers, taking their power back and saying, look, you're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to diminish me for embracing who I am as a woman, and the way I choose to share my body and the way I express my body, because what women are doing right now is exposing the hypocrisy. They're like, niggas, you can't sit there and talk about how many, women you've been with and all this X, Y, and Z, and say that I can't talk about it. I can talk about it. That's why I can respect the Lil' Kims and the Foxy Browns and the Lauryn Hills and the Cardi B's and the Lottos. Like, we're taking our power back. But I think that Amber's response was better. Like,
no,
yeah,
not better, just different.
That gives me justification to continue to love it, because when Jay-Z and DMX Money Cash Hoes is playing, I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to sing it. Money Cash Hoes. Money Cash. I can't help it because I like that song. Damn it. And I'm going to sing it.
And what I will say is this too. I'm glad that you mentioned all those artists, because I would, and again, this isn't a perfect parallel, but I look at it as Black people in America in the same way that not just Black, but women rappers and women MCs and artists have had to do to hip hop, is that we carve a space out of this thing that can be very ugly and harmful to us in a way that makes it palatable for us and makes it something that we can still enjoy. So it's just like, Black people, we have to have our festivals and our other things in America, in our neighborhoods. We carve out these places that are safe spaces for us because we know that America exists, and we can't be separated from it. With all of its ugly and stuff, we know that we're still here and there are things here that we enjoy. And so we need to just create a space for us. And so I feel like women MCs and women artists, they've done that same thing in hip hop. It's like, this can be a really ugly place in a lot of ways. It's deeply misogynistic, not just in lyrics, but in actual behaviors. It's so many artists, so many rappers who are well known for being incredibly abusive to their partners, who just engage in all kinds of just violent behavior. So it's not just in name, it's in actual practice, how they actually treat women. That's one of the reasons why Future is hard for me to appreciate Future, because of the way that he's talked about, you know, his baby mamas, and just it's hard for me. And because I didn't grow up with him, it's like I'm at the age now where I feel like I can decide a little bit better about the people that I engage with. When I was a teenager, I was able to look over things more, and also because I wasn't nearly as critical or reflective, right? But now at this age, it's just like, okay, I really can't appreciate another Black man doing that to another Black woman. I see it in a different way. And at the same time, older artists, I've kind of given a pass because they're people I grew up with.
That's a
And
good
so
point.
it's a little bit easier to be like, I kind of like you, like James Brown. Like James Brown was a notorious wife beater. So was Bill Withers. And it's just like, I can't, it's just like, dang, but yeah. But like now, if you're a new artist,
love Dr. Dre. Nas was accused of it, even though that wasn't proven.
Yeah, Dr. Dre, Nas, all of them. And so it's just like, but like I don't have to add a new person to the roster. I don't have to, like, now I'm just like, if I've already fallen in love with your music, it's harder to fall out of it. But if I don't have to add new music, it's like, okay, I at least feel like that's one of my ways of negotiating things. But it's just like, I feel like the women MCs, they have carved out a space for themselves to actually practice this thing and make it work and use it to be empowering rather than misogynistic. And at the same time, some of it is misogynistic because this is the water in which we swim in a way. It's just like, this is a part of this music. And so it also depends on where you are in the feminist or womanist spectrum about women's empowerment or objectifying your body, whether or not you feel like sexuality is empowering, or if you feel like you should like hide it or protect it or something in a way. It depends on where your values are. So for me right now, I feel like what Meg Thee Stallion is doing. Well, let me more say Meg Thee Stallion. I really appreciate Meg Thee Stallion in a different way, just like the way that she's owning just being a bad bitch. Like she's just owning it and just owning her sexuality and dancing and being in her 20s is fun. It's fun. She's owning that. And I love that. So I feel like that's an example of people, or like a Lauryn Hill. And I know there's a lot of other, I don't remember all of their names. And that's my problem because of how I interact with Rhapsody. Yeah, I was going to say Rhapsody and this other girl, Deja SB or something. I forget her name. She's on my playlist. But it's a lot of artists out there who are like great and they're doing their own thing. And that's why for me, it goes back to that Lauryn Hill quote of hip hop started out in the heart that everybody's trying to chart. It's just like, you're going to have these faces that are out there that seem to be the face of hip hop. And yet it has so much range. And so it's like, you can take an edge of like hip hop music and it not be misogynistic at all. If that's the vein that you want to go in, you can find that music. And then there's other places where that's all it is, you know, Money, Cash, Hoes. I know you like the song. I'm just saying that's all it's going to be. Other places it's going to be something else, but you can find what you want. That is the diversity of Black people. That's the diversity of hip hop. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
sorry. I want to add real quick. Another part of me too, and I have grown a lot in regards to the way and how I look at other women. I remember back in the day, I used to be like, Hosey winning. And, you know, and it was more so of judging and facing another woman. And, you know, when I listen to songs like Money, Cash, Hoes, or if I'm listening to another song where a hip hop song is disrespecting another Black woman, back in those days when I was in my 20s, or even when I was a teenager, my mindset was, well, they ain't talking about me. They talking about them. So I'm, you know, at the expense of another woman. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, I think that's where that's coming from. And now as I'm getting, you know, as I'm older now, I'm realizing that the Hosey winning is very disrespectful and diminishing and disgusting. I don't, because that's almost coming from the spirit of pick me. I'm not a hoe. That's, you know, that's them. You know, that's not me. So, you know, now that I'm thinking about it now, I think that when I listened to those music back then, I knew they weren't talking about me. But if I'm trying to be in unification with another Black woman, I need to consider that too. So now I'm just realizing my own misogyny just now.
That's another thing. that's so real, because as little girls, we're growing up listening to this stuff and we internalize these same messages that a lot of these artists are telling us about women. And so we have the same practices. We talk about women in the same way. We call women females. People, it's like, man, these females, or
Yeah,
man, these bitches, or these hoes.
I
And
hate that.
you use it in a derogatory sense, and that's because that's what we grew up with. And at the same time, that's to say our culture is so deeply patriarchal and so deeply racist and anti-Black and misogynistic and all of the antis, right? That we don't even know when we're doing it. Not until we come to an awareness of some point, we get some kind of exposure. Then you start realizing like, oh, this is the water that I'm swimming in. And it's very fishy. And this is just who I am. I'm a fish swimming in this water, and I'm doing the same thing that the other fish are doing. And so I feel like as the older we get, the more awareness we have, and then we can start saying, okay, I don't want to swim like this. This is not how I want to be, because now I understand, I get it, you know? So, and I feel like I feel like, again, that talks about the weight of the Black woman, like being Black and being woman, the way that we experience some things, it's just heavy. It's just very heavy.
I don't think that we can end an episode or a conversation about hip hop without answering this question. Who is your top 5 DOA? Who is your top 5 dead or alive? Nobody, every hip hop conversation has to end with you picking your top 5 dead or alive. And that's the thing I love about hip hop, is like there's certain aspects of our culture. I've never heard anybody, that be like a ending statement of like a jazz conversation or a country or a gospel or whatever. But hip hop, you can't end a hip hop discussion without talking about your top 5 dead or alive. And so, I know we wrapping up, and I know we got to go to our takeout box section, but we can't leave without each one of us talking about our top 5 DOA. And it always changes, because feelings, hip hop is so malleable. Hip hop changes, our connection to hip hop change. But right now, at this moment, 12:08, August 15th, tell me, who is your top 5 dead or alive? We're gonna start with our guests first.
John, can I add one thing before we kind of get to that point? I wanted to share this real quick. It's gonna be like 1 minute.
Yeah.
I do want to just kind of highlight that hip hop is rooted in the African American experience. One more time. Hip hop is rooted in the African American experience. And I've noticed real quick that Caribbean folk like to take credit for hip hop. And I just want to kind of put that out there. We know that the co-founder migrated from Jamaica to the States and started this revolution, but he was inspired by the African American experience. So I just wanted to put that out there and say that. And if anybody wants to challenge me or say anything in the comments or talk about it, we can have a conversation offline. But I needed to say this out loud again, that hip hop is rooted in the African American experience, and that Caribbean is not Caribbean music. It's not started in the Caribbean. It didn't start in Jamaica. It started in Bronx, New York, and it was inspired by African American people. Just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to talk about that earlier, and I forgot to mention that, but I wanted to say that before we ended. But yeah. So I guess do I continue to talk about my first 5?
Oh yeah, your top 5.
John, did you know what I said?
Keep going with your first 5.
Okay. So of course Tupac is number 1. And not because of not lyrically, but because of who he was as a human being.
Yeah.
So Tupac, Biggie, Lil Kim, I want to say Kendrick Lamar is 4. I mean, not 4, but I can't even talk about. I just know Tupac is 1, but like 2, 3, 4, and 5, I can't numerically like decipher right now because it's like put on the spot. But of course, it's going to be Tupac, Biggie Smalls, Lil Kim. I think Kendrick, and I know Andre is in the 5. I'm trying to see if because every album Kendrick has made, I mean, To Pimp a Butterfly, there hasn't been an album that has topped that within the past decade. I don't know what To Pimp a Butterfly, like, that's why I'm like,
I can't think of nothing.
I can't think of an album that was as prolific as To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah.
So I can't, that's why Kendrick is up there. But yeah, that's my top 5.
Okay, I'm going through my phone too because I'm just like, I feel like I forget people all the time.
I almost, but you know what, Amber? I don't want you to feel just whatever's on your heart.
I know. So
hip hop is about the feeling, the moment, the just go. Just
so
go.
For real, of course, our lists are almost identical, Ayanna. So for me, in no particular order, it is Lauryn Hill, Andre 3000, or I could say Outkast. I kind of want to say both. I think I'm just say Outkast as an artist, as a collective, because I feel like what they did, even in terms of the contrast of each other, was brilliant and beautiful in hip hop. Tupac, again, like you said, because of his artistry and who he is as a person, not just his lyrics, but because he was just such a powerful individual to have only lived for such a short period of time and have had the impact that he had. And Missy Elliott, I do believe in Missy Elliott as a rapper, as an artist, crazy. And lastly, you know, I have now recently, I think I admitted this not too long ago, but I am officially a member of the Hive now. Beyonce is a rapper, man. She's amazing. And I think we need to respect Beyonce as a woman rapper, as an MC. I can only imagine. I know someday she'll probably have a straight rap album. And I also might add to that list another guy. This is number 6. Michel Andre. He's an awesome person. He was the
shout out to Andre.
He was the president of Art and Soul at Oakwood at one point, and I just think he's a phenomenal artist. He's an indie artist,
dope
so
rapper.
In terms of best of all time, those are my 6. Well, let me say honorable mention Beyonce. Let me say the other 5, and then Beyonce is honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Dope. Man, my top 5 DOA, and obviously there's so many different categories for that, because you can do top 5 DOA lyricists, you can do rappers, you can do entertainers, you can do all of it. I just like to go top 5 DOA period. Just top 5 dead or alive, however you wanna do it. I think for me though, the reason why I put Nas there is because Nas is like Jordan to me. Nas is an incredible just lyricist. You give him the mic, he can go. So he's already proven that with Illmatic. He's already proven that in so many different ways. He's already proven that he could hold himself up against arguably one of the greatest rappers, if not the greatest rapper of all time, Jay-Z. And Ether is just Ether, you know what I'm saying? But Nas has also made club bangers. Nas has also made uplifting music for women. Nas is also, he's an incredible storyteller. Nas literally checks out all the boxes of incredible entertainers, artists, rappers. So I always put Nas up front in that category for me, top. But when it comes to lyricists and just who is the best to grab a mic and just do it, it's always going to be Black Thought for me. And at the end of the day, I feel like one of the greatest moments in hip hop, you could argue me, Funkmaster Flex, Black Thought, 10-minute nonstop. I have not seen a better display of hip hop in my life. That was
bananas.
That thing was so beautiful. It was so, and I'm just like, that's why I'm like, the man is flawless. He just went for like almost 10 minutes and did not mess up one time. That's you out of your mind. You connected to something spiritual to be able to do what Thought did on Funkmaster Flex. So Nas, Black Thought, Big L, he didn't live a long time, but Big L, I think, is just such an amazing lyricist, amazing freestyler. Big L is just, it's too much. He's too much. I love Big L. Tupac. I actually think Tupac is a great rapper, a great lyricist, a poet. But like each of you said, his influence, he's just such a larger than life hip hop, merging hip hop and politics and revolution and hip hop. I mean, Tupac is just one of my favorite, just historical figures of all time. And so I gotta put him in there. And Man, you know what? I don't know. I'll probably have to go with um I'll probably have to go with Andre 3000 too, for sure. Three Stacks is just he stacks. And the fact that he's so amazing and coming from the South, and the South has always been marginalized in hip hop. For a long time it was, and I think in a large degree, and this is a whole nother conversation, still is in a lot of ways, and is always kind of forgotten and unappreciated and underappreciated, even though the South has literally been running hip hop longer than any other region. And so that is, I gotta love Andre 3000 and really just Outkast in general, like Amber said, for that and what they did for hip hop, what they brought to hip hop. So those are my top five. And so with that being said, we need to wrap up. And so
I feel like those were good takeout boxes. I feel like our takeout boxes are our top fives.
Definitely. Well, one thing I do want to say then before we wrap up, this is something that was just on my mind that I had planned to say for the takeout box was recently I went to LA, and then before that I visited New York, and I visited various places all over the world. And one thing I love, and traveling makes me appreciate hip hop even more, because as I travel the world, I see how other people take what Ayanna was talking about, this cultural art form that was created in the Bronx, New York, August 11th, 1973, and how everybody does it in their own way. Like going out to LA and seeing some of the best graffiti I've ever seen was out in LA, and seeing the way in which they do it there. And then if you come down south, you can go to Atlanta or Miami or Houston or Mississippi or Tennessee, and seeing the way in which Southerners have taken on this culture and done it in their own way. And of course, obviously, New York and Philly and Chicago and the way they do it. But then if you go to Paris, or if you go to London, or if you go to South Africa or Ghana or whatever, and Afro beats, and seeing how these people are incorporating hip hop, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's so incredible. It's so amazing. And so the more I travel, the older I get, the more I just love and appreciate this art form and what people have been able to do and how they've been able to make it their own. And I'm just blessed and honored to be a part of the hip hop generation and be a part of the generation that helps to proliferate this this way of being.
Beautiful close. Thank you, homie. Let's
Yep. Any last words from my guests before we head out?
Oh, no, I just really appreciate you all considering me to even come on the show. Like, it's such an honor to be around brilliant and beautiful and prolific people. Like, you all are just y'all minds are very divine. Like, I see God when I see Amber. I see God when I see you, Don. And I don't fuck with a lot of people, and nobody shouldn't. People shouldn't fuck with a lot of people. It's good to be in a space where you can trust, and you all have been a safe space for me, and it was so great to be part of it. I wish that Jackie would have been here too. I really appreciate Jackie and her contributions to this show. I think that you all are doing great, and the fact that you all even thought of me to sit with you all is just mind blowing. I know that I'm doing the most, but I'm being dead serious. Really, because I was listening to some of y'all podcasts. Real quick, I know y'all gotta go. Yeah, listen to some of y'all podcasts. Y'all be talking some deep ass shit. The shit be deep, and I'm like, am I ready for this? This is
oh man.
Y'all are breaking shit down and talking about history and statistics and using words like diabolical.
Virtuoso.
Virtuoso. Am I ready? But no, for real, thank you all so much for having me. I appreciate it. It was super fun. I wish we had longer time. I didn't realize how fast this was. It's 12:30.
It's 2 hours. We've been here for a while. So
yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. It's incredible. And It's been another episode, y'all. Street Academy Podcast, where we keep one foot in the academy and one foot in the street. Zeets, we are out.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
That you know got their feet upon the neck of the haters, the game and the devil like came in.